Welcome back to my channel. We will crochet this easy and beautiful blanket today. All the materials list is in the description below. I will have a little surprise at the end, so stay tuned. Lots of love. Let's start. For the foundation chain, take the yarn and start from the middle. Now you place your hook on here with yarn and then place it like that. And then hold onto it. With one yarn tail, yarn over. And then with the other one. Pull through both the loops on the hook and then just tighten it. So again, yarn over. With the one yarn tail, hold on to it, and with the second one, yarn over and pull. Through again. Yarn on the hook. Yarn over and through both the loops on the hook. If you prefer, you can do regular 33 chains. And then just repeat this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna repeat it for a total of 33 times. For the very last one, pull both yarn tails through the loop on the hook to finish it. First, make a slip knot to have a loop. Use these spaces here to make clusters for the granny stitch. It doesn't matter from which side you use. So insert your crochet hook into the first CH. Grab this loop with the hook. Pull it through the foundation chain. Then make 3 chains while weaving in this end. These 3 chains will count as our first double crochet. Then yarn over through the same stitch. Yarn over again. Back through the same stitch. And then pull through only the first 2 yarn over. And then yarn over and pull through the next 2. So to DC, again yarn over through the same stitch. Yarn over back. So we have 3 loops on the hook. Through the first 2. Then the next 2. This is the first cluster of 3 DC. Then we are going to skip to foundation chains. So this is the one we used. Then skip to and go into the third one. So no chains in between and into the third one. Yarn over through the CH and yarn over, then back. 3 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2. Then the next 2. Again, into the same stitch. Through the first 2, then the next 2. Third as see through the same stitch. Then we are going to repeat this pattern of skipping 2 stitches and into the third one. And make a cluster of 3 double crochet. If you prefer, you can place 1 CH in between. We are going to repeat making this Pattern up to this end here. So this is the very last stitch. And by placing the third DC, we'll complete this side. And then for the corner here, we will make 2 chains. Then into the same stitch here, we're gonna place another cluster of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, and then again 2 chains for the second corner. As we made the one corner here, so 1 on this side. And then third cluster into the same stitch, so third cluster of 3 DC into the same stitch. So we have 2 corners for our rectangular blanket. So then we are just going to follow this pattern of pasting the clusters into the same stitches. This one here. So again into the same stitch where we have this cluster. So 3 double crochet on the opposite side as well. Again, so go into the same cluster here. We are going to repeat this pattern until they end here. Alright, so this is how it's looking so far. We are going to repeat the same corners pattern on this side as on this one as well. Into the same stitch, 3 clusters to chains apart for 2 corners. So we already have 1 cluster here. Let's make the second one in the same stitch. So 1 DC, 2 DC, and 3, and then we're gonna make 2 chains. And then again another 3 DC cluster on here. So 3 DC cluster and then again 2 chains. And then make a slip stitch with the second one. Skip the first one. So as you see here, sew just a slip stitch on here. And then what we are going to use, instead of working on this side, we're gonna first, I'll show you how it looks so far. Then instead of working on this side, we're gonna turn around and start from the back side. So for these corners now, what we are going to do for the very first double crochet, insert the hook into this chain space, yarn over, back through the same SP. 2 loops on the hook, pull through both. Then through this loop only. Insert the crochet hook and yarn over dot to loops on the hook. Pull through both dot. This is our first DC. So 1 and 2 more double crochet in the same SP. And then 2 chains on here. Into the same space, another cluster of 3 DC. This is what we will do for each corner, throughout the whole blanket pattern. We made our first corner on this side here. Then 1 chain in between before the second corner. So again into this one here O. So then 2 chains. And then another cluster into this corner. This is how it will look. Now we're gonna place 1 chain in between of each cluster throughout the blanket. And then you see this space here. We will place the 3 DC clusters in these CH spaces. And then again 1 chain. So you gotta follow this pattern, then tell them this and here. Alright, so we are at this corner here again. So 1 chain as we are doing for the whole blanket pattern. So into these corners here we're gonna place UH2 clusters of 3 double crochet with 2 chains in between, so 1. Three, and then we're gonna place 2 chains to make the corner. And then into the same chain space we're gonna place 1 more cluster of 3 double crochets. And then 1 chain in between. Then again into this corner here, 2 clusters of 3 double crochet. And then in between those 2 clusters 2 chains. We are just going to follow the pattern of 1 chain and 1 into all the other these spaces here, just 1 cluster of 3 double crochet. And I will see you back here. So this is how it looks looking so far so. So what you're going to do is now is change the colors. So if you like a very detailed video, I have another one how to join the ends as well. 1 chain, grab the other end of the yarn. You can do it very close to this one. To make a loop like that, and then pull through this loop. And then we will do it with the other yarn. So you cut this one and we gonna do it with this one. So underneath this yarn. So make a loop. And then pull through this one here. And then do it close to this one as well. And then pull both the ends tight. Alright, so once you do that, then go into this very first one here. So into this one here and make a slip stitch. With the new yarn here. And then you turn around. So what I like to do is just do one step. So the same way we did for the other one, you're gonna, inside of a crochet hook, yarn over 2 loops. Pull through both together and then through this last loop only. Yarn over 2 loops on the hook and pull through both. And then now we can cut the yarn pretty close to the knot. And then make the second double crochet cluster. And the third one, and then one chain. So you can just hide it behind these loops if visible. It's easier afterwards with no ends to weave in. So then again we are going to repeat the same thing. So into each of these spaces, we gonna place 3 double crochet clusters and onto the corners. Then we will repeat the 2 clusters of 6 DC. And then on here it's just gonna be 1 cluster of 3 DC. On these corners, we're gonna do 2 clusters. So I'll see you back on here. So this is how it's looking so far. And we are almost at the corner here. So we are going to repeat the same thing. This corner is gonna go like that. We will repeat this pattern. Into these CH spaces, 2 clusters of 3 double crochets, separated by 2 chains in between. Again, into the same space here. The corner on top of the corner, everywhere else single cluster. So corner with the 2 clusters, always remember that. So in between this space with more rows, it's gonna keep increasing. So this is just gonna be a regular 3 double crochet cluster, or just one. Just 1 cluster or 3 double crochet. And then 1 chain to separate it. So this is the corner now. So if you like, you can keep a stitch marker to remember the corner. Onto here and then just keep it here. As we keep going, this is going to be our corner. Or you can put 1 on here, see. So again, 2 clusters on here. So 2 chains in between and then another cluster. And then 1 chain. And then this is just the regular one, so just the regular cluster. And then 1 chain. And then just keep repeating this pattern until the end here. So we did 2 rows 4. This colors we're gonna do 2 more with this color. And I'll see you with the 3rd color. So this is how it's looking so far. So corners here, 2 clusters, and then corners here. So 2 clusters everywhere else. It's just 1 cluster in between these ones here. We have 2 chains. So let's join this yarn end as well. So make sure when you do this chain here, do it very tight because we can change it afterwards. So leave it here, have the other yarn. And then through this loop. So do it very, very close to this. Tighten it and then with this one. So again. Go like that. And again do it close to the previous one here. So again hold on to the right here and then tighten it. And then pull this one as well. And then if you like, you can cut right here. You can do it very close here. I like to keep under a bit extra. Then make a succinct with the 2nd loop preferably, but can also use the 1st loop. And then again, instead of going forward, we are going to switch to this side. So that's what I have done on all of these rows. So I switched every single time. Then kind of weave this in at the same time. So first cluster of 3DC. Second double crochet. And the third one. And one chain. Then the same thing. I'm gonna do 2 rows with this color. So 2 clusters on each corner. Everywhere else just 1 cluster. Finish the row with a succinct. Then switch the side. So I will show you after finishing this color as well. So as you see, this is the finished look for all 3 colors. If you prefer, you can follow the same pattern for 2 rows repetition. You can follow the same pattern as I will be doing. Tip alert! If you think you're gonna lose this thread, what you can do is use a stitch marker. Put it into the loop and it's not going anywhere. There you go. So this has been bothering me. So let's weave in this end as well. So we're gonna do one at a time to make sure. So just take it and insert inside the loops. So you can see that it's not visible on either side you do. Then just go in between. And once you're finished, you can cut off the extra yarn. And then the same thing with the other one as well. And then the extra yarn. And that's it. I have almost completed the blanket except for the border, which we will do together. So far 32 rows of granny stitch, 33rd row of HDC. I started with 2 rows of each color. Then I did 2 for the first color and 4 with other 2 colors. So the 33rd row of HDC with the very first color is done. Now we will do another HDC row with second color. Then star stitch with third color. So this is where we will start. So this is the 1 row of HDC with first color. Now we will use our second color, which I have already joined the same way we did for other rows. Now we're gonna make a slip stitch with this second loop here. Just like that, and then turn around. And we're gonna make a half double crochet here. On the other side, let's flip it. Unfortunately, my camera didn't work for this row, but I will explain everything. Before we do one more row of half double crochet. So on this one, as you see, I've done 3 into each and then 1 into each of these spaces. This chain space. And on the corners here, the same thing, 3 on 3. And then in this space I did, because there was 2 chain space, 2 half double crochet but with 2 chains in between. So let's start with this one as well. So for this one, what I'm going to do, either you can make 2 chains or just yarn over. And then into this chain space here, sew. Into this one. And then yarn over again. So 3 loops on the hook. Then pull through all 3 together. And then the same thing again. Weave in a little bit of this yarn and then cut. So the same thing to the next stitch. Do a half double crochet. So we will just keep making HDC into each stitch. We are going to continue this up to here. Let's do the corner first. What you're going to do is a half double crochet. And then into these 2 chain space. Do 1 more half double crochet and then 1 chain. Half double crochet into this same chain space. Then repeat the half double crossing into each stitch. So this is our corner here. So we did to HDC. With 1 chain into this chain space. Now we are going to repeat this on 3 corners. Alright, so almost done with this row. So what I'm going to do is instead of joining the second yarn, I'm going to make a slip stitch with this. And then 1 chain and then just cut this yarn off. And then pull the tail out. So this is the corner. So this is how the corner is looking. And then we are going to make the final border with this dark blue color. So turn around. Alright, so we are going to start from the corner here. So you see there is this chain space. So just beside that, insert your crochet hook into both the loops, then grab the yarn. So make a loop and then make 4 chains. Weave in the tail as well. Four chains, sew then the second chain from the hook. Second one into this one here. So insert your hook, yarn over. So you have 2 loops on the hook then again. Insert your hook into the third CH. Insert your crochet hook, weaving in the tail at the same time. Yarn over. So we have 3 loops. And then you're going to go into this space here. So insert your crochet hook, yarn over, grab the yarn. So we have 4 loops. And then we're going to go into this next one here. And insert your crochet hook and yarn over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 more. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull through all 6 together. And then 1 chain. So for the next one, we're going to go into this space here. So insert your crochet hook and yarn over. and only through this front loop here. Then through the same space. And one more here. 5, and we're gonna get 6 loops. So again, the next loop. And pull through all 6 loops. And then one chain. Then again go into this space here. Yarn over, 2 loops, and then into this one here. 3 loops, then into the same space here. For then 2 more. 5. And 6, and then pull through all 6 together. 1, and then 1 CH. 2. So one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull the yarn through all. And then 1 CH. And I will keep repeating until the end. And I'll see you back here after doing the corners. So let's do the corner now. And I'll show you the other ones that I have finished. And every corner will be the exact same. So this is how each corner will be. In each of the ends. So the same thing. 1 from this. The very first stitch. So 1 on the hook. And this one is going to be the second. So the third one on here. Fourth into the same stitch. Then the 5th one through this stitch here. And then the very last one, through this chain space here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops. And again pull through all together. And 1 chain again from first one or kind of second. Third one. And then the 4th one from the same stitch, where we had previous stitch. And then 5th one from the stitch here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6, and then pull through all 6 together. And then 1 chain, and then we just continue this pattern for all the corners. Alright, so let's finish the very last corner here and so the same thing. Instead of going into this stitch here, we're gonna go right into this one here. And then pull through all together. And then instead of making 1 chain here, we're gonna grab the chain on this side. So this one here. This one here. So you're gonna make a slip stitch directly with this instead of making a chain. So to connect and then make 1 chain and tighten it. and then turn around. So then into the ISO, you see this space here. Into each of these eyes, we're gonna make 2 single crochet together. For the very first one, it's gonna be into this one here. So you can see space here, so in here. 1. And to then the next one. You can see this space here. And you're gonna get the next one in here you. So to SC into each of this space. So this is how it's gonna look to make it a 1 star. And then we gotta repeat this all the way back up to here. The front side look. And I'll see you at the other corner. So we are at the corner here. So what we are going to do is to single crochet into the eye. And then make 2 chains for the corner and then into the next one. Just the same thing as the regular 2 single crochet. And then continue making 2 single crochets into each eye. So 2 single crochets into each eye. So this is our corner. And that's how it's looking. And then you continue this pattern on
And
all
I'll
the ends.
see you
back at the very end. So 2 chains. Cut some extra yarn. Pull the yarn tail out. Thread the needle. Let's do the invisible join to finish it cleanly. Do not insert into the first stitch. Instead, insert into the second stitch on the left side. Then insert into only the back loop on the right side stitch, or in between front and back loop. Then weave in a little. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Love. Have any questions or suggestions? Please let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned for the surprise. Make a knot and hide it behind the stitches. Important! Make sure to hold onto the very last stitch before tightening the knot. Now hide the tail while weaving in the ends. Thanks for watching. Surprise! So, I made this custom blanket with the name with the same granny stitch after finishing the blanket. Please let me know your thoughts. Love for crochet craft.